Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Judy, and today we're actually going to be talking about what are we so afraid of. Before we get started though, I'd really love it if you'd hit that subscribe button and also that little notification bell. Obviously, as human beings, we have a lot of fears, and some of those are just because of the life we're living in the moment where we live, or who we're living with, or what things have happened in our lives, so even what country you're in, or whatever. There's so many reasons for fear in our human mind, and thousands of reasons. I'm just going to kind of try to touch on a couple of things that might be a little bit more universal. And hopefully give you a new perspective. And I can tell you that even knowing what I absolutely feel is true, there's times when I fall into like worry or bummed out about something. It's part of the experience that we do have some of those feelings. I mean, we don't want to ignore what we're here to learn. I think some things that people tend to be afraid of, let's pick being sick, some kind of a frightening diagnosis, either for yourself or some loved one, and that's really scary. And usually what we're scared of is, number one, being sick, or having somebody we love be sick. And the other, of course, is eventually maybe perhaps dying from whatever this is. People are terrified of dying and basically not only do they not want to die, they don't know what's going to happen after. Even the most faithful will think, oh, what if I'm not right, So, a diagnosis that's... I'm sorry. That's the humanity in me right there. So that's kind of a scary thing. I think finances, money, not having enough money, not being able to pay the bills, owing money, having a lot of credit that you owe, kind of living paycheck to paycheck because of all that, maybe losing your job, depending on somebody else to help you, and maybe there isn't anybody else and you have to live in your car, and then you have to sell the car and you have to live in a box. That's terrifying, especially if you have a family. But I mean, even if you're on your own, that's terrifying. Sometimes we get anxious or stressed because we have some kind of deadline, in our heads, but sometimes it's a work deadline. Your boss wants this done by this time, and you're like, oh, but lots of times those deadlines are in our heads. I'm going to, by the time I'm this old, I'm going to be married. By the time I'm this old, we're going to buy a house. By the time I'm this old, I'll get a promotion. By the time this time, I'm going to have kids. You set up these deadlines for yourself. Of course, life doesn't look at your timeline. It has its own, but it can be very stressful. I think one of the hardest things is relationships, sometimes they're not repairable. You can put 110% in trying, but if both people aren't putting 110% in trying, at some point, it's just not going to work. And it is the saddest thing in the world. Sometimes, you have to kind of assume that the relationship you were in, if it's not worked out, it was there for a reason, to give you something that you needed at the time it started. And when it ended, it probably ended in a way that maybe was uncomfortable, but in the long run, you're probably better off. It's hard to see that in the moment, So if it's just a friend you lose, or a husband or wife, or some kind of partner, a sibling, sometimes we have difficulty with relationships that are very close to us, misunderstandings because you're two different people. I know somebody who hasn't talked to his mother for like 20 years because of a really ridiculous misunderstanding. So silly that you wouldn't even think he would be mad. But people can get angry, Some personalities, boy, they can hold a grudge. And of course, in the past couple years, we've had this global pandemic, which has been very stressful for many people, either because they just want to get out and get on with life and they want to take the masks off and forget the whole thing, or they're scared they're going to get it. And if they get it, are they going to be okay? You know, people die from this. A lot of people have died from this. And you could probably list off a whole bunch of other things. Those are kind of, I'll say those are universal or more common. We get stressed about all sorts of things, and we're anxious about all sorts of things, and we worry about a lot of things. And I don't really believe that it's unnecessary. I mean, I don't think we can actually be human if we don't have some of those things that we have to think about or deal with. I also think that it's, you know, part of the tapestry of the life that we're in right now. We're sort of traversing. And there's a lot in that to be learned. And, you know, we're here for some kind of a destiny, some kind of a goal, something we're supposed to achieve. But along the way, there's a lot of little things we're learning too, you know, as we make the decisions and trying to get to that place, wherever it is, because we don't even know what it is, right? But it doesn't matter. Your soul knows that it's guiding you at least to a certain point. You have these options for choices. So maybe you don't get there this time, maybe next time. But in the meantime, there's a lot of little lessons along the way that can uplift soul. So I'm not saying it's bad to have deadlines that you haven't met, or relationships that end or cool off, financial issues. That's one I don't like. I want to be rich. I want to be rich really bad. But when you realize, and I don't know if it makes it easier exactly, but it's easier to accept that all this crap that we have to deal with is there for a reason, a positive reason. Like there's nothing bad that happens that isn't going to help us, which sounds horrendous, but it's true. And even if you don't believe the way I believe that the soul needs these lessons to go on and on, even if you just believe people get stronger in the face of adversity, because that's true. It's always true. So there is a reason for it. And I'm not saying that you should be joyful, gleeful, jumping around, dancing through the streets because you're having a hard time. But I think that at the bottom of your core, if you can always try really hard to remember, I hate what's happening. I don't like this. I don't want to have to deal with it. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. But in the long run, I know when I look back on this in a couple of years, I'm going to say, boy, I really learned something. I'm going to be a better person because of this thing, even though I don't want to do it right now. I don't know if it's even important for you to think about soul and soul's journey and all that, because it's really understandable enough just as a person that we have this opportunity with adversity to accept it and find a way through it, or just lay down and let it kick us in the thigh, or the leg or the belly or whatever. And I'm sure we've all had a turn at laying down getting kicked. I'm sure that we've all had that. I know I probably have. But I do like feeling stronger, better. Feeling like I am better than my problems. I'm stronger than my problems. And I'm going to get through them because they are not going to get me. Maybe that's all we need to learn. I'm not real good at it yet. I'm getting there. I'm getting there every day. I feel better about it. Anyway, let me know what you think. I would love to hear what you have to say. Put it in the comments. And please hit that like button for me. If I said anything that you feel like you could agree with, might be interesting to ponder, or just because, why not? Hit the bell, or not the bell. Yeah, hit the bell too, but hit the like. I like the likes. And come back for more, because we'll be talking about some things. I have some really heavy subjects I got to talk about, and I've been putting them off a little bit because there's a lot to them, even though they're simple. There's a lot to them. So, but things like soulmates and things that, you know, people wonder about, I can explain that to you from my perspective. Anyway, thanks for stopping, and I will see you soon. Have a great day.